Okay, so in this video, I'm going over the questions on page 10 in your ratios guided notes on how to solve for missing values in ratios. So similar to what I did on page 9, just a bit more repetition. Okay, so for the first example, 8 to 5 equals 40 to what? So again, I'm going to compare the numbers on the same side of each ratio. So 8's on the left, 40's on the left. And remember that when we make equivalent ratios, we're doing the same operation to both sides, either multiplying or dividing, okay? So I would ask, well, what would I have done to 8 to end up with 40? Smaller to bigger, so I know I'm multiplying, so I would figure out, well, 8 times what is 40? Okay, and I would arrive at the answer being 5. And you know that when you make an equivalent ratio, which is what we're doing here, because there's an equal sign, that what I do to the left side, I have to do to the right. I can't multiply this by 5 and this by 10 and end up with an equivalent ratio. Okay, so if I just multiply the 8 by 5, I'm going to multiply 5 by 5. If I draw my arrow, 5 times 5 is 25. So 8 to 5 is equal to 40 to 25. Next one, 1 to 16 equals 5 to what? Again, 1 and 5 are on the left side, so I'm going to compare those. What do I do to a 1 to end up with a 5? Remember, we're not adding, so I would go times 5. 1 times 5 is 5, so times 5, which means I also need to multiply this 16 times 5. So 16 times 5 is 80. Okay, so 1 to 16 equals 5 to 80. Remember that if the left side is smaller than the right side over here, it has to be over here. So if you ended up with a smaller number than 5 here, you know that you've done something wrong. All right, this one, 35 to 5 equals 7 to what? So 35 and 7 are on the same side. Okay, so bigger to smaller. So this time I know that I'm dividing. And so I would ask myself, well, 35 divided by what is 7? And it's 5. 35 divided by 5. If it's easier for you to think 7 times what is 35, that's fine. So if I divided this by 5 to get 7, I also need to divide this side. So I'm going to go 5 divided by 5. Anything divided by itself is 1. So 35 to 5 is a 7 to 1 ratio. Okay, what to 3 equals 21 to 9? So this time, 3 and 9 are both on the right side, okay? But this time I'm trying to solve for a value on the left. So it might be easier for you to draw your arrow this way. So now you would ask yourself, well, what would I have done to the 9 to end up with 3? Well, 9 divided by 3 is 3. So if I divided this side by 3 to end up with this, well, I also need to divide 21 by 3. So this is like saying if you have 21 of something and you make 3 groups, how many are in each group? Well, 21 divided by 3 is 7. Okay, notice how this side of the ratio is bigger on both sides. Okay, 4 to 16 equals 2 to what? So I'm going to compare the 4 and the 2. This should be a pretty easy one for us to figure out. To go from 4 to 2, you're just halving it. You're dividing by 2, which means I'm also going to divide the 16 by 2. So 16 divided by 2 is 8. Again, the thing with videos is you can pause them at any time, guys. So if I'm going too fast or you want to relook at a step, pause the video and go back. 36 to 48 equals what to 12? So 48 and 12 are on the same side, the right side. So again, you're going to say, well, bigger to smaller, so I'm dividing. Well, what would I have to divide 48 by to get 12? Well, you can think, well, if 12 goes into 48 4 times, so divided by 4. Going to divide this side by 4 as well, so 36 divided by 4, 9, 18, 27, 36, 9. And the last one, 6 to what equals 36 to 54. So again, you might want to go the opposite way if it's easier. So 36 and 6 you're going to compare because they're both on the left side. So how do you go from 36 to 6? Well, 6 times 6 is 36. So you're dividing by 6. Well, if I divided this side by 6, I should divide this side by 6 as well. So 54 divided by 6 is 9. Okay. And again, to check your answers, you can just go back the other way. So you could say, well, 6 to 9 equals 36 to 54. Got to make sure that's right. So 6 times 6 would give you 36, and 9 times 6 would give you 54. Okay, so that's solving for missing values in ratios.